Hey, what's up everybody? In this video, I will create Electron.js desktop application using Vue.js. So first we'll create a simple Vue application using Vue CLI. Alright, so make sure you got Vue CLI version 3. So I'll create a new project with Vue create, and I'll name the project Vue to do. Alright. So I will manually select some features like so I will use router. So 1 2 3 4, so just hit 4 in your keyboard, and also I will also use Vuex 5. So I don't need this linter, so I will uncheck that and enter. Yeah, I will say yes. So in dedicate config files, yes. Save preset, just enter. Alright, so once it is done, let's cd into Electron and let's run npm run serve. So app is running at this location. So this is our app out of the box. So currently it is running on Chrome, so this is a web app. So what we want to do is we want to create a desktop application. So there is a Vue CLI plugin named Electron Builder. So that will help us to create the Electron app application. So let's add that plugin. So I'm in Electron Vue to do, and I'll just call Vue add Electron Builder. Alright, so once that plugin got installed, so the cool thing about Vue CLI 3 is it implements the plugin system, and whenever you add any plugin, you don't need to do all setup steps, so it will do everything for you. So these files are changed and created for us. So let's open up it on VS Code and see. Alright, so the structure looks like typical Vue project, but we got some extra thing like background.js. So it is the Electron specific, so it is the main process for Electron. So everything creating windows and all other setting related stuff are in this file. So other thing, familiar thing, router store for Vuex store and main.js. So let's see package.json. So now we have access to these commands like serve Electron. So let's run this command npm run serve Electron. Alright, so now that exact same thing we can see in the form of this application. Alright, so you can visit home, about page, so all those things. Alright, so now what we'll do is so when this is the Vue router, so whenever we hit home, this is loading the home component, and whenever we go to about, this is loading about. So you can do whatever you want, like simple like you do in simple Vue application. So I will focus on some extra thing that you can do on Electron, like opening a new window. So in normal web app, we used to use modal window to pop anything extra, like adding some stuff. So but in this application, we need to open up the window. Alright, so we'll see how we can communicate with the main process and renderer process that I talked about. So Electron walk-in, so Electron has one main process which is handling everything like creating window and everything, and other is renderer process which is responsible for rendering these pages. Alright, so we'll see how we can communicate between these two. So let's go to home.vue. So by the way, so everything is everything comes all set by default. So this router contains the home component about, so you can add like you normally do. But in home we are loading this hello world component. So I'll comment out this. and I'll put in some custom text like task manager, and see, as I save this, it will hot reload. Alright, so I don't need to do any refresh. There we go. So I'll get rid of this logo as well, and here I'll create a simple form. So there we go. So here we'll display, so for now I'll display the UL list items. Alright, so let's use Vuex store to store all of our tasks and display it here. Alright, so this is form, and whenever users submit the form, we'll call add task method that we'll create in a moment. So before that, I will use prevent modifier so that it prevents the normal form submission. And this input field, I need to bind it to vmodel task. So here we need to create our data property task. By default, it will be null. And also we need to create our add task method. What this method will do is this will just call a method add task. So this will just call the mutator named add task, which we will create in a moment, and this will pass this dot task. Alright, so we'll handle this on our store. Also we need computed property named tasks. So we'll return this store state tasks. So we'll return all the tasks from our state store, and we'll loop through those tasks and display it here. Alright, so this is the computed property v4. Okay, so currently we have no tasks. So since we created this mutation and we're pulling it from store, let's go to store.js inside source. So in state we need to define tasks, that will be empty, and in mutation we need to define add task. So what this will do is, so it contains state and payload by default. So what we'll do is this will just push the new item into tasks. Alright, actually state.tasks. So it will push the new payload. Let's call it task instead of payload. So whenever we call this add task from here, this is passing task and then adding new tasks. So I hope this thing should work. So let's give it a try. So new task, yeah, it is working. So we need to clear this out. Another one, yes. So after adding task, we need to clear this dot task equals to null, so that it will create the empty field. Go to store, create video. Alright, So this is a very simple to do application using Vuex. So what I will do next is, so instead of showing this form, we will add a button that will create the pop-up, or that will create a new window, and we'll enter the task there. So if you learn doing that, you can use that on your other project as well, like how you can open up new window in your desktop application. So that thing is slightly tricky, so you need to emit event from one file to another file. So we'll see. So first I will just comment out this form for now. Let's do one thing. Let's cut this out form from here and create another component named task form. Let's call that. Alright. So we need to create that component task form. Actually, let's not put it here. Okay, leave it here, but we'll create a new component. Let's duplicate this home.view and I will name it task form.view. Alright. So I just created a duplicate of home, and I will just get rid of unnecessary thing and only put the. Alright, so now that we have created a new component task form, let's create a route for that. Let's go to router.js and let's import that task form from task form. Alright, and then we'll create a new route. So that will be task. Let's call this task form. Alright, so once that is done, let's visit our, actually in app.view we have router link. Let's put it here just to test if that work or not. Alright, so this is the task form, about page, home. Alright, so doing using view router is very easy. So let's put this on a separate window. Let's go back to home, and in home I'll put a button, add new task. There we go. So whenever someone clicks on this button, I will call open task form. So let's create that method here, open task form. So open task form needs to open up a new window. Alright, so to open new window we need to emit event from this component to our background.js. So basically what we call is we emit the event from a renderer process to the main process, so that main process can listen that event and then act on it to create a new window, because this component cannot create a new Electron window. Right, so all Electron correlated tasks is handled by background.js, which is also called main process. So to do that we need IPC renderer. So import, so this is the function provided by Electron. We'll import that from Electron. Alright, and what we'll do when someone hits on that button, we'll IPC renderer send, and we'll send an event name open task form. Alright, so this will be the event that will be passing to main process. Now let's head back to main process, background.js. So this is the main file that is creating this window. So let me quickly take you through it. So if you see our last video, we covered that there. So basically what we are doing is this is the function which will create the main window. This is the main window, and we are calling this function on ready. So on app ready, we are calling that event. Okay, so in background in this what we'll create is we'll duplicate this function, create main window function. We'll just duplicate it and rename it so that we can create another window. So we'll rename it create to do window or create task window. That sounds good to me. So we are creating a new instance of browser window. We can even give the width 300 pixel. Yeah, we don't need to put pixel here, just this is the default, so it will put pixel by default. So if development, we are loading this, otherwise we are loading that. Yeah, for now let's not make it complex. So I will call it task window. So it is good practice to declare the variable here, so that if you see this file, you'll know the how many windows are there in this application. So one is main window, task window, and in task window we are using that. So whenever someone closes that, we will make the task window null, and on focus it is calling the depth tool. So we don't need depth tool on that window, right? So yeah, so that will create also we don't need this depth tool, just load URL, and we'll call this okay, sorry about that, I made changes in. So create task window, we'll call this method when someone emits that event. So that event will be emitted on if someone clicks on a task button. So here we need to listen for that, but what I will do, so we need IPC main. So IPC renderer we use in our renderer process, and to listen that we'll use that. So we import that from our Electron, and here IPC main on, what was the name of the event, open task form. So we are sending it here and we are listening it here. So on that, we'll create a function. For now let's console log something. So event imitate, save it. So looks like the process exited. We need to run that again. So let's run npm run serve electron again. Alright, so we got our application. So let's try adding new tasks at, yeah, so we can see console, and that we logged this console. So one thing, if you console log from your main event background.js, you do not expect that to see it in this console, right? So if you do that, so that is not console for main process. So for main process, the console is this terminal, alright? So we can see that in this terminal, event imitate. So let's hit again, and yeah, we see again here. Alright, so that is working. So what we'll do here is we will create task window, and task window, let's assign that to task window variable that we just defined up here. So task window equals to create task window function. So this function will return a window object so that we can assign that here. So let's save it. So if you save on this, if you make changes on background.js and save, it will reload this app automatically. It will exit and reload. So let's add new task. Yeah, there we go. So we can see the new window here for adding task. So currently it is loading same thing. So the cool thing about it is let's go to create task window function. So here in this window you can load any URL. So currently we are loading the URL of the home page. So web app server URL will give the URL of this home page, and that's why that is loading that. So the cool thing about that is you can load any URL. So https www.google.com, save it. Now it will reload. There we go. So add new task. So in this window you can see we loaded Google. Alright, so you can load anything you want. So instead of Google, what we want to load is we want to load this component, task form component, so that we can see the task form. So let's load that. So the URL for that is /task. Alright, so here on background.js we will use that. So process.env.webpack-dev-server URL will give us the main URL, and we need to add the task here. Alright, so let's see if that works. That didn't work. So I think this view router route doesn't work in this, but we need to proceed with has, I think. Alright, so also we need to get rid of this history mode. There we go, now it works. So we can see we can add task from here, new task. Now that we can display new window, let's save these tasks in some location so that when page refresh these tasks can still persist. So behind the scene I have created that. So what I did is we save this array into a JSON file that we created, and then we save all data in that file and retrieve from that particular file. So let me show you how I did that. So here is our task form component. So whenever user types the task and hit submit, we are calling add task method. The add task method, what it is doing is it is dispatching the add task method. So basically it is calling the add task, and on this component when this component loads, we are also fetching all tasks because it is fetching on new window, so that we need to initialize all tasks. So basically this this function will just initialize the task. It will just read the task from the file that we created. If you go to store.js, here everything, those actions. So add task action, it is just grabbing the task from the state and putting the task that user types, and we are making the JSON string like so, and then we are using fs plugin to create a file and then write this content on that file. Alright, so in case of error we are displaying, we don't need this error check. Alright, so after the file is successfully written, we are just closing the task form, and then after task is added, we are refetching new task so that it will display there in real time. Similarly, this get task will just read the file content from the file we store here, and set tasks, commit set task will just set all the tasks from the file that we saved and initialize this into our state. Alright, so this is just making the state with all data from the task. So let me show you how the file looks. So the task transaction is stored here, and here it will store like so. Alright, so let's head back to background.js. So this is we already created open task form. Also we need to close the task form after user hits submit. So we are closing the task window, and then we are sending the form closed event to back to our renderer process, so that when user hits OK, it will close the form and also notify the main renderer process. Like so the reason we need this is we need to refresh the data after user hits OK. So let me show you. So for example, so this is part I added behind scene. For example, if it is not there, let's see what happens. Alright, so when we hit add new task, it will display the window, and let's enter new task from window, and when I hit submit, you see this window do not disappears. And let's close that manually, and we do not see it here. If we refresh Control R, yeah, we see. Alright, so that's why we need this event to fetch the data after the task has been added. So IPC main on task close task form, we are closing the form, and then we are closing the window, and then also notifying the main process, renderer process, that form is closed. So we are triggering this from our task form. So inside task form, after we submit, we are adding task, and I think we are triggering that from store. So after adding task, we are sending the close task form, and then we are sending the form closed. So by the way, we are listening this form closed inside our home.view. So on form closed, we need to fetch the new task, because the home.view is responsible for displaying all the tasks. Let's go to app.view, and we do not need these router links, because this link will be good for our web application but not in our desktop application. We have we have these menu in our desktop application. So yeah, so it looks like this. So one more time, let's give a final testing. So add new task, buy new books, submit. There we go. Alright, so this is a simple to-do application using Vue.js. So I know using this store in the simple application is overkill, but I just wanted to share with you how we can use store as well with router in Electron.js. So hope it helped you a bit. So I will see you in the next video. Bye.